our prisons are full. You know, we have more people in prison today than any other country, and yet we think of ourselves differently. A lot of it's just, you know, drug crimes. I don't mean just. I'm not in favor of legalizing anything. I do think, though, that that one of the problems is that, do you ever read the oh, what the hell I just read it again. It's got a picture of an apple and an orange. Bingo. And there's a new book out, Super Freakonomics. You seen that? I just bought it. I haven't read it yet. And I think we need to rethink how we criminalize some of this, and what it means, and what the implications are. I mean, it is the truth that a rise in vote and a rising economy should be able to provide for more people. And in that book, they point out that drugs and the sale of drugs become the option to a lot of people at the low end, and for minorities and all of that. And I look at failure of our educational system as being partially responsible for that. But more fundamentally, I look at parents aren't indicted nearly enough in our society as I think they should be. And by indicted, I mean criticized for kind of dooming their children to live lives of less than they need to because they don't reinforce education in the home. I was taught absolutely I was going to college. I mean, it's just never any doubt. And my parents, my mom especially, you know, my grades were important. You know how it is. You kids, you people grew up that way. So did I, and I benefited from that. And we need to quit blaming institutions. We can blame them if we like. And we should stop throwing money at them and ask them what it really is that makes things work. But I also think that part of the problem is that we have become convinced that if you're an American, you get a prize. That you're born in a country that has always taken care of everybody, and that it always will. I'm here to tell you, you know, that's not true. And self-esteem is something you earn, not something you're entitled to. Your accomplishments are, and what you get in life is a function of what you add. It's always been that way. We've been living off of, I think, largely on the notion that everything is going to be all right. And you may be the first bunch of people to go out there, and maybe your kids and stuff, and find out that the standard of living that you grew up in is diminished, but in your own efforts. And that's not right. And it's not all about standard of living. It's about having opportunity out there to pursue what it is you want to do and be. And it doesn't have to be money. And I kind of like the fact that so many people today don't talk about money as if it was a goal in and of itself. You know, it's not. It shouldn't be. But for those people who want to pursue that, it's important that they're able to. It's important that I live in a world that allows me to build a business, to hire people who can go do what they want at whatever level. So I know I didn't answer your question directly, and it's one of those things that it's hard to be. It's hard to think about, because there are things you can do and say that completely make a mess of the process that serve no purpose. You know, it's one of the things I don't like about this game. It really, intellectually, it's not very satisfying very often. Anything else?
You've been talking about long-term solutions, which has been really fantastic. How do you feel about the country's environmental and energy policy for a long-term solution? Because it seems like the Republican Party has sort of gone off the deep end on that issue, at least in terms of making it about global warming, believing or not believing, instead of looking at energy as a whole, and how our country is going to come through this over the long term.
I agree with you. I mean, how long do you sit on the front of a train when you could see a wall and not get off? And that's kind of what we're doing in this country. We know that you know, fossil fuels, that whole issue is coming at us, that it's being depleted. We know that global warming exists, and I'm not here to tell you otherwise, or climate change, whatever kind of terminology people want to put on it. We see it, we live it, we can feel it. And I think that one of the real crises or shames in this our world is, hey, thanks for coming, that that we haven't been adults about those issues, but that's one of the counterpoints to living in a market economy. The assumption is somehow that energy will be so expensive that other alternatives will come about, and you know, it's almost as if you're waiting for something like critical mass to happen before you respond to something you know is going to happen, you know, or you're doing it on the margin. You know, there are solar energy companies now that are starting to thrive and grow, and you see them in China and India, and even in this country. You know, natural gas is a hot issue. Oh, it's not meant to be funny. In this district, you know, we have the fracking process that people talk about, which I think is unsafe, and yet at the same time you have the whole country saying natural gas is our out, it's how we can survive. We have so much of it for 100 years, and then the same people who want energy policy to change and be more forward-thinking are rightfully against fracking. So you have this kind of push and pull in a free democratic society, and on the one hand it's a great thing because you think through things ad nauseum and hopefully come up with the right solutions. On the other hand, when you live in a pluralistic society, everybody has a voice, and even the guy that says stupid things has a voice, and you know, you find yourself kind of, the processes take forever to work through. Yeah, windmills, New York State, they make power because they're subsidized. Out in the Midwest, they make great sense. So we spend a lot of money on things that make us feel good in this country. We don't always spend it wisely or in the right place. It's just it's so disheartening sometimes to think that you know the right thing and you can't talk about it because people scream from both sides, and people want to get reelected. The guy I'm running against, and this isn't criticism, it's the best job he's ever had in his life. I don't blame him for wanting to keep it, but I blame anybody who co-opts your vote for their longevity and sense of entitlement. And that's what I see in the guy I'm running against. And I don't know him personally that well, but it's not meant to be that negative, although it is. It's kind of emblematic of what I don't like. Not just there, but everywhere. It should be a privilege to go to Congress. You look at Charlie Rangel. The guy's, he's an institution. People love him in his district. Yet by all accounts, he's done things that he ought to be ashamed of. And he'll probably be reelected. It's crazy. We reinforce the very things that we've upheld. Seems crazy.
On the energy side, though, you have an option to create disincentives for bad behavior and incentives for good ones, and it strikes me the Republicans certainly don't have a stomach for that. I mean, free enterprise is not. I mean, you can look at the 100 years of the 20th century, and I work for a large corporation who I view as a very ethical, hugely successful, $100 billion privately held company, and they were great in the community. They created a lot of wealth and a lot of jobs globally, but the bottom line is what they were after. So the idea that they were going to create any support for people who are